Hey everyone. What day is it today? Thursday? Happy Thursday, everyone. I hope you're all doing super well today. If this is your first time tuning into my channel and you don't know who I am, hello. Thank you for coming to my channel. My name is Stef and I'm a psychic soul alignment coach. What I do is I work with spiritual entrepreneurs to help them to do very deep levels of healing in order to create their highest level of success, influence, impact, and income. I also work with non-spiritual people or non-entrepreneurial people who are spiritual. And they want to do very deep levels of healing in order to really be able to reach their potential, drop old patterns, overcome victimhood, and really just become powerful creators of their realities. So that is how I help people. Every Friday, I do video teachings here on my YouTube channel that I am guided to speak on. So be sure to subscribe to my channel if you enjoy this video teaching so that you always catch my videos on Fridays, as well as all the other videos that I do. Currently, at the time of this video that I'm recording right now, that you're watching, I'm actually doing video teachings on explaining chakra imbalances. So I was asked to speak on chakra imbalances all week long. So there is a playlist here on my channel titled like The Beginner's Guide to Chakras or Chakras 101, something like that, that you can click on. It'll be up here somewhere in the card section. And you can go and check out that playlist to learn more about chakra imbalances. There's also going to be a playlist that I create called Spiritual Activism. So it'll be up here as well somewhere in the cards. I don't know which way to point, but it'll be up there somewhere. And this video today is actually following up with a previous video that I did on my channel about 3 weeks ago or so. So the first video that I did is titled something like, what is spiritual bypassing and how is the spiritual community letting the world down? So I definitely suggest that you go and watch that video. And this is a follow-up video to it. And I feel like there's going to be a few more videos that I'm going to do all along this subject of, you know, bypassing and spiritual activism. So that's why I'm creating that checklist, that playlist. So make sure to check that out so that you don't miss out on those other videos that might serve you, okay? Because that is my intention, is to help the world become a better place, to help people come back to who they truly are and to show up as their true spiritual selves as they move through life so that we can all come together as these divine beings and truly create massive change in the world. So the reason that I'm speaking on this video subject today is because this morning I did a healing on myself. And in my healing, so I'm a psychic, I'm a healer. I have shamanic energy. And when I help people heal, I do very deep journeying work to help them to get into the states and places that they need to get into to uncover the darkness, the shadows within themselves, to actually release those things and to be able to move forward, right? So that is how I help people. Now, when I did my journey this morning, I was actually guided, you know, long story short, to a place where I saw a slave and I could clearly see him dressed in like this old timey clothes. I don't know what to call it, like clothes from like, I don't know, 15th, 16th, 17th century from there. I don't know exactly the specific time, but it looked like that kind of stuff. And long story short with him, he had drowned at sea. He had died at sea. He told me he wasn't afraid of dying because he knew that I was going to speak up for the people, that I was going to help the people or something like that. Can't even remember all the details because it was this morning. And if I don't write it down, I don't remember. And I didn't write it down. But the point is that I asked him for his name and I heard, let me see here. What is this name? Mawadi. And I was like, what in the world is this? So after I did my journey, I Googled this and I happened to find this article on Mawadi. I don't know if you can see this. Can you see my phone? No, you cannot see my phone. But I'm going to show you here. My screen is cracked, by the way. I dropped my phone a few times. But this is the protector that is damaged, not my actual screen. So anyway, the point is that it says here, when Aluba King died, his spirit was incarnated by a female spirit medium whose title was Mawadi. Luba people say that only a woman's body is fated to kingship is almost always female in gender. The Mawadi was the incarnation of King blah, 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 because there's a picture of an actual Mawadi here, right? And it says here, The residences of 13 Luba kings thus became sites of memory and were called spirit capitals, where the Mawadis ruled their kingdoms of the dead. Each Mawadi was succeeded at her own death by another woman in her lineage, thus ensuring the perpetuation of the king's memory. So about that. Now, I guess I heard this spirit guide's name wrong. I guess maybe he was referring to me as Mawadi, because I know I've been Native American in other lives. But here's what I want to get with this video. There's a lot of ancestor energy coming up at this time to be healed, to be released. It's been coming up for me all year long. I've been having different ancestor guides, Native American guides, and African guides coming forward to work with me this year. And it's been very interesting because me personally, with having shamanic energy, embracing shamanism for me has been quite the journey. And as I've healed around that and I've embraced it more of these ancestor guides have been coming forward for me to work with me. And you know, right now at this time, I'm currently, promoting my program, Remembering Who You Are. It's a very powerful healing program. And I was told when I was asked to launch this program, because I only launch my programs as my guides ask me to. I do things as my guides indicate, because they know what is for the highest good of people and what is needed and when they asked me to relaunch Remembering Who You Are, they asked me to make it from an 8-week program to a 12-week program. And that these additional 4 modules that I was going to be including were going to have some kind of ancestor healing in them. And so now that I've had this journey and I feel called to connect more with these energies, and I am seeing so many synchronicities with ancestor energy coming up, this energy is coming up for a reason. This energy is coming up to be healed. Right now, we're going through this process of really healing some powerful karma at this time as a collective. And so there are all these ancestral energies that are coming forward to be released in some kind of way, to be processed in some kind of way. And so today I'm doing my part to the best of my ability to bring forward the message that I was asked to bring forward today by the spirit which I connected with this morning, and to facilitate the healing of the world and of others through this message today. Okay, so that's like my really long introduction as to why I'm doing this video, and I appreciate you for sticking around with me and listening to it. So I channeled the information for this video because I thought I was going to free flow it, but my guides were like, no, there are specific points that we want you to speak to. Okay, so this is all channeled information. And this is a message that I have for all of us, what I've been observing online, okay, and why I'm speaking out on this. About 3 weeks ago when I did that first video, I saw that there was a lot of spiritual bypassing happening. And that's why I felt the need to explain what spiritual bypassing is, how it can manifest, how you may not even recognize that you're doing it, and that for me at least, there is no judgment towards you, or at least I try not to judge when I notice that you're spiritual bypassing, because I've been there myself, and it's been a journey for me learning to not bypass, learning what that means, and being able to discern when I'm bypassing and when I'm not. And so when I see people or recognize people bypassing, I hold compassion and empathy for them, because I know I've been there and I can't judge them, because I know what that's like, okay? I really suggest that you watch that video if you haven't already. So I've been seeing a lot of bypassing online in many different ways. And here are 4 of the reasons or the arguments that a lot of people give that are actually spiritual bypassing. So the first one is people saying that they feel that the best way to support racial equality at this time, or the Black Lives Matter movement at this time, is by sending love and light. And that's all that they're doing, okay? So when they say, I'm just sending you love and light, I'm just holding space for you, what happens is that when you send love and light, you're a lot of times doing this because people feel the need to give this reason for not being more active in the Black Lives Matter movement, because they feel like if they pay attention or are more active in speaking out about racism and supporting the Black Lives Matter movement, if they're more active in that sense, then they're feeding into that energy. And that energy is bad. It's negative. It's low vibrational. It's full of intense emotions or whatever. And so they don't want to feed into that energy. So spiritual people a lot of times feel like the best way to combat that, to neutralize all that intensity that is happening around the racism or the Black Lives Matter movement, is by just sending love and light and feeling like they're being super supportive of racial equality and justice in the world by just sending love and light. Okay, that's the first thing I want to say that I've been observing and that I was asked to speak on. The second thing that I've been observing here, and please bear with me because I'm not judging you if these have been any of your reasons. I want you to stay with me until I get to this point that I'm supposed to get to. The second thing that I've seen online is that a lot of people are choosing not to be more active in supporting racial equality or the Black Lives Matter movement because of conspiracy theories. There's a lot of woke spiritual people online who are trying to wake people up to the truth, okay? And trying to make them see that this has all been fabricated by the elite, by the cabal, by whatever the people's name is, and that this is a game that they're playing on us to trick into further separation and division and, animosity and all this other stuff. And so there's a lot of woke spiritual people who don't want to be more active in the support of racial equality in the Black Lives Matter movement because they don't want to fall for the Machiavellic plan of the elite. They don't want to feed their energy, their focus, their attention, and give their power to the elite, okay? It's the second argument, okay? Stay with me. The third argument is that a lot of people in the spiritual community or even non-spiritual community, a lot of people are saying they don't see color, okay? And by saying they don't see color, they feel maybe no need or it's just not necessary for them to be more proactive in being supportive of racial equality and the Black Lives Matter movement, okay? And I've been speaking on this on my Instagram account. Okay, you can follow me on Instagram, Stef Coaching. The links to all my social media are in the description of this video. And I have some posts on there on that. And what I want you to understand is that a lot of times when you feel you don't see color, that's okay. Like, I get it. You don't want to see color. But the truth of the matter is that we do live in a world where most of the people do see color and where the world oftentimes is different for people of color. So just because maybe you don't see color individually doesn't mean that the rest of the world doesn't, okay? I want to make that clear. And that's what I say in my post on Instagram. The fourth thing is that there is a major spiritual ego happening right now at this time for why people are bypassing, being more proactive in, the racial equality movement, Black Lives Matter movement. And there are some people that are so woke, they're so woke that they feel like this is all an illusion. This is all a game. Like none of this matters. They're just not even going to pay attention to it. They're just going to stay in their bubble and not give it more focus, more attention because they're just tired of this game. They're tired of this nonsense. And they don't even want to have anything to do with it anymore. They're done, right? Because they're so woke and this is just an illusion. So these are the reasons that I have primarily witnessed online for why people who are in the spiritual community especially are not being more supportive of bringing forward racial equality to the world and being supportive of the Black Lives Matter movement or just ways in which people of color can be supported at this time. Okay, so for the spiritual ego people, they're just very apathetic. They're just like, no, not getting involved. I don't care. None of my business. I'm staying in my bubble. They're very apathetic. Okay, so now that I've said all of that, okay, I want you to understand that ultimately there is no right or wrong. Okay, ultimately, however you're choosing to support racial equality, the Black Lives Matter movement, or how you're choosing to not support it, there is no right or wrong, because spirit is going to love you regardless. Okay. You're unconditionally loved and accepted. And that's that. Okay. That's what I was asked to share. However, okay, what I want you to understand, and this, when I was thinking about this, because I've been wanting to speak out more on this subject for the last few weeks, but I wasn't feeling pulled yet to speak about it. I didn't feel like it was the time yet. I've been speaking to a bunch of different friends, and I was waiting for the right moment. And this morning, when I had that journey, when I spoke to, the guides, I really understood that I got to speak on this today. So that's why I'm here. Finally, at last, I've had enough time to marinate on this subject to know how to properly address everyone who might be listening to this video and to bring forward this message of love. So how I see this is that it's kind of like veganism. I used to be a vegan for 4.5 years. Now I eat eggs, okay? But it's kind of like veganism. You have many different types of vegans on the spectrum of veganism, right? And you have you have vegans who are people who are kind of like very passive vegans. They don't really let people know that they're vegan. They just kind of do their own thing. They stick to themselves. Or maybe people do know that they're vegan, but they just kind of go about their business. They don't necessarily share vegan food with anyone. They don't necessarily, bring their friends to vegan restaurants. They don't prepare food for other people. They just they're like, okay, I'm vegan and I'm going to eat this way, and everyone else can do their own thing. So you have those kinds of vegans, right? Then you have the other kinds of vegans that are passive, but at the same time active. And these are the vegans that are in their little vegan lane, eating vegan and all that stuff, but they're also open and inviting of non-vegans to come and try their food, of taking them out to really great vegan restaurants, of making food and dishes to expose non-vegans to veganism, right? And so they're not pushing veganism on these people. They're just simply having like an open invitation. They're like, yeah, I'm vegan. You want to try some vegan stuff? I can make you some vegan stuff. I can take you to a place that has really good vegan stuff, right? So these are these kinds of people that they're kind of like interacting back and forth, which is the first vegan that I shared with you guys is more of like, I'm just here. I'm just doing my thing here, sticking to myself, okay? The second vegan is going back and forth, not pushing, not imposing, just inviting, okay? If the people accept their invitation. Then you have the other types of vegans, like the super activist vegans who are, wanting to change the world through strong activism. These are the vegans that are out there with the signs, with the, laptop screens, with the images and the videos of animals getting slaughtered and the pain, and they're acting out really gruesome scenes of, slaughter of the animals, right? To help really get the message across of the injustice and the pain of these animals, right? So all of these kinds of vegans, they're making the world, a better place because they're all not. So the very strong vegans, I guess, radical, extreme, I don't know, whatever you want to call these people. No offense to you if you are one of these kinds of vegans, okay? But the ones that are out there really like getting the message across, debate you, they will let you know how you are wrong for consuming animal stuff. They will not back down. They will speak up, speak their truth, speak with passion and fire, right? They're, contributing to the world by being vegan first and foremost, and by speaking out in the ways in which they feel called to speak out, to raise awareness in the ways in which they feel called to raise awareness, okay? And there are some people that are in alignment to receive this message from these people in this way, okay? And it works. It works for some people. It works for the people who need to receive the message in that way. And then for the second vegans, the ones who are the open and inviting ones, that was me, like I'm vegan, doing my thing here. You want to go to a really good restaurant? This is how I got a lot of people to be open to veganism. I was just, I wasn't on that other end where I was trying to show people the documentaries and, how they can improve their health by being vegan and all this other stuff. I was just like, hey, I'm doing my thing. I'm not going to try to impose myself on you. If you're curious, I'm happy to have conversations with you, to cook some really good food for you, whatever, right? So these kinds of vegans, they're still making their impact in this way. They're just not being like maybe forceful about it, but they're open and inviting. And for those who are in alignment to receive the message of veganism through them in this way, they're coming in and they're creating an impact on these people's lives, okay? And then the other person, the other type of vegan, maybe they're not sharing their veganism with other people necessarily. Maybe they're not super outspoken about it, but they're vegan and they're making their impact in their way by being vegan and by consuming from companies that are vegan, restaurants that are vegan, and they're making their impact in their own way. So everyone is making an impact in some kind of way, right? Cool. So everyone here who has given the reasons for why they feel they shouldn't be more proactive in creating more racial equality or supporting the movement of racial equality by sending love and light, by not feeding into the negativity, by choosing not to see color, by just not engaging at all because they're so woke, right? They're making an impact in their own way as well, okay? On some level, they're also impacting positively love and unity and ascension in their own way, okay? Now, the point is that is the way that you're currently supporting the ascension process, is the way that you're currently promoting more love and unity consciousness, is the way that you're doing it right now really in alignment with your higher self or your soul? Is this really what your higher self or your soul is asking you to do at this time and to show up in this way at this time? Or is it your ego that is leading you? Because your ego, your mind here, that beautiful computer that you have that processes all the things and that tries to logically, understand things, make sense of it, see what's right and wrong and all this other stuff, what's good or bad, the light and the dark, right? This part of you oftentimes is what's making a lot of spiritual people say these kinds of things and say like, oh, okay, I don't want to feed more negativity into this. I don't want to fall into their trap. I don't want to do this. Yeah. So this is how I'm going to handle it. But are you really dropping down into your heart, connecting with this heart space? By the way, I just got done doing the teaching on chakras for beginners, and I talked about heart chakra imbalances. So when I can, I will link that up here somewhere in the card section for you to check that out. You can also see the playlist on my channel for chakras to learn more about chakra imbalances. But are you really dropping down into your heart, connecting with your soul, connecting with your higher self, and asking your inner guidance, okay, what is the best way for me to truly be of highest service at this time to promote more love, unity, and justice, equality in the world? And to lean into that and make sure that your limiting beliefs, your fears, your ego isn't driving that inner guidance, because sometimes it's so subtle and you can't tell. And I know because I'm psychic and I see through people so well. And I can see a lot of times through other psychics, through other spiritual entrepreneurs, where they're actually leading with ego and not soul. And they think that they're leading with soul. They think that they're hearing divine, loving guidance a lot of times. And I can just feel, I can just know it's not the inner guidance. It's ego that's leading them. Okay. So I really need you to do your best to discern. Okay. Drop down into your heart and discern what the best way for you to make your impact at this time is. Is it by taking a more proactive role, or is it by taking a more passive role? Because again, no matter where you're at on the spectrum, you're making an impact on some level. There is no judgment, okay? The universe is gonna love you no matter what. And you gotta do what's right for you in that moment, right? It means you're not always gonna maybe be active all the time. There might be some times where you're really active and then you take a step back and you're passive, okay? Now for me, if you're on my email list, okay, if you wanna join me on my email list, I will drop a link to that in the comments of this video. But I explained how I've been wanting to talk about the subject more and to speak out more, but I haven't felt the time. And there was a moment where I was a bit conflicted because my ego was like, you got to do this, you got to do this. People are counting on you. You have to be a leader. You have to speak up. You have to do this. But when I really felt into it, I was like, I know it's not the right time. I know I still have to process. I know I have to still speak to other people, integrate, process my own emotions, my own judgments, my own things, right? So I was waiting for the time because when this whole situation with George Floyd happened initially, that first week, I didn't really do much of anything. I was in a limbo. I was processing, learning, talking to people, a lot of things. Then I came out of it and I did that first video. And I was very active that week and I was doing all these, Facebook, the Instagram posts, speaking my truth, helping people increase their awareness, helping people to understand my perspective as a person of color. And I was very on fire. I was very active. And then I took a few weeks off and I went back to being passive because that's what I needed at that time to get myself ready to do this video. So you got to really do your best to tune into your inner guidance to see what you truly need to do at this time that is going to be of the highest service to yourself and the world, and to make sure that you're leading with this, with your heart, with love, okay? Because again, there's no judgment in how you choose to do it. But just make sure that you're leading with love here, and to make sure that your current approach to the subject of racial inequality, the subject of systemic racism, the Black Lives Matter movement, to make sure that your approach to these things is in alignment, is in integrity with your higher self or with your soul, okay? Really do your best to tune into that, because what I'm seeing is the people who give these reasons, I'm sending love and light, I'm not participating because of spiritual conspiracy theories, I don't see color, I'm so woke and this is all an illusion, this is all a game and I'm not participating in it, blah, 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 blah. Okay. A lot of the spiritual bypassing is happening a lot of times because people are unintentionally not wanting to do that deeper shadow work. And if you don't do the deeper shadow work, you're going to hold up your own ascension process, your ability to connect with who you truly are on a deeper level, and to really release the things inside of yourself that you need to let go of in order to move forward. Karmic stuff you got to let go of in order to move forward, okay? Because you may not have been racist in this lifetime. You may try to see everyone based on their character and not on the color of their skin. However, that doesn't take away from the fact that we all have karma that we have from our own selves, our own past lives, as well as karma that comes from our family and maybe having had potentially racist individuals in our family. And if you tell yourself, I'm just sending love and light, I'm just doing this, I'm just doing that, as a way to bypass your own healing, you're holding yourself back. And this is impacting the world as well, because how we make the world a better place is through our own personal healing. I have a video here on my channel somewhere where it's like the best way you can help the world or something is through your own healing. I'll see if I can put that up in the card somewhere for you to check that out if that interests you. So again, if you feel like right now sending love and light is truly in alignment with your soul, keep doing that. No judgment. Universe, source, loves you regardless, and you're doing your part. If that's what you feel called to do, we're all making an impact in some kind of way. But just make sure that you are discerning. You're really discerning if this is in alignment, okay? At this time, and that you need to, how you need to show up, okay? So this is the message that I was asked to bring forward today on what is the best way to support racial equality without spiritually bypassing the Black Lives Matter movement, bypassing the fact that there is systemic racism. There is no right or wrong answer here. We're all doing the best that we can with where we're at, with what we're conscious of, just where we're at in our journey. But it's important for you to make sure that you're tuning into your inner guidance to see how you can promote racial equality at this time, justice for all, especially people of color who have been mistreated and marginalized and negatively impacted throughout centuries. Okay, really tune in. And again, there is no judgment. There's many different ways to support social justice or social activism, racial activism. There's many ways to support these things, but you have to tune into your inner guidance to see what that is like or looks like for you at this time. So some ways to support racial equality and the dismantling of racism at this time, if you feel called to take a more active role. And taking an active role doesn't mean you're out there in the forefront or with the spotlight on you. It can mean you're taking an active role behind the scenes, but you're taking some kind of action, okay? So these are the 10 ways that I channeled specifically for this video. Number one is, self-educate. Read books, watch videos, go to Facebook events that talk on these subjects, watch documentaries, watch movies on the subject, okay? Find all of these different ways to educate yourself about the pain and the trauma of people of color, the injustices done to them, how they see the world, how the world treats them. Okay, do your best to self-educate. So self-educating, you're not out there in the forefront, leading the way, doing things, but you're still taking a more active role by choosing to get this information, to learn how to empathize and connect with people, to understand them, to promote more unity. This is what I talk about in my heart chakra video, okay? So I really want you to understand that there's so much value in self-education, okay? Number two is use your platforms, okay? Use your platforms to raise awareness, use your platforms to support other people. It doesn't matter how big or small your platform is. You can make such a big difference by choosing to use your platform, use your voice to speak out, to let people know where you stand, to do your best to speak with love. And how you choose to speak out, maybe you choose to speak out with rage and frustration. That's okay too. Again, no judgment, no judgment. I see so many spiritual people bypassing and just having a lack of empathy for people and how they're expressing themselves at this time because they're judging, and they're judging how people are showing up when it comes to this. They're judging people for being angry and outspoken and very passionate and outraged. They're sharing these messages. They're judging the energy or and that's judgment. Your heart chakra is out of alignment if you're judging other people and how they're choosing to process what is coming up for them at this time, right? Nothing wrong with having that judgment. Just need you to have awareness of that and to heal it for yourself so you can stop judging people and their experiences and what they're going through, and to hold love and compassion and empathy for them, So there is nothing wrong with being outspoken about these things and being angry if that's what you feel you need to express, because I get it. There have been many instances during these few weeks of silence that I've been going through where I've read some things and I was just downright frustrated and outraged, That's my human experience. That's my human reaction, is feeling that. And giving myself the time, the space to process that and to move myself through that, see things from a higher perspective before I speak out. So there is nothing inherently wrong, with how we choose to use our voices, our platforms to raise awareness. It's all good. It's all valid. Remember, we're all on that spectrum, making an impact on some kind of level. So it's all good, but you can use your platforms to raise awareness around this subject and to support other people that you feel need to be supported. So you can, if you want to, choose to support me by sharing this video out if you feel other people would benefit from this message today. Okay. Number three is talk to others. This is so huge. Okay. This is part of the reason why I've taken the space before I spoke to people, because I really needed to speak to other people of color and non-people of color, to hear all the different perspectives, the different experiences, what everyone's going through, to really be able to speak to as many people as possible and to have love and compassion and empathy and understanding for everyone, right? So talk to other people, Black, Indigenous people of color, or non-Black people, non-people of color, right? And hear their perspectives, hear their experiences. And by speaking together, you come up with ideas for how you can make a difference. You come up with different things that you can do. So definitely talk to others, share perspectives. There are some channels that I want to recommend to those of you who are interested in learning about other people's perspectives and the fact that people of color are literally treated differently. And not just in America, not just in the UK, but in different parts of the world. And so there's this channel that I've recently become obsessed with, and it's called Black Experience Japan. I love it so much. And it talks about the challenges that a lot of Black people have in Japan. And Japan is a very homogenous society, and there are people that have had very difficult experiences. There are people who have had really good experiences as Black people. It all depends on a lot of things, right? But by hearing the experiences of the people who are Black in Japan, you can hear their perspectives. You can hear how the world treats them. If you're especially not a person of color, if you're white, then this will help you to open your eyes to the fact that racism is very real. People of color are treated differently. We're looked down upon. We're not accepted. There's so many, what is these called? Microaggressions done towards us. And to really help you to understand, because it's like what I expressed in one of my posts on Instagram, like you don't know, especially as a white person, that racism is an issue still today because you're not in our skin. You're not living in this life. So you're not experiencing the world that way that we as people of color, especially as Black people, I'm not a Black person, but Black people, you're not experiencing the world as we do. So of course, you're not going to notice these things a lot of times. But when you're in this skin, you're in this body, you look this way, and you don't fit in until the white, you don't fit in around the world around you. Because, for whatever reasons, you recognize you're different and the world treats you differently a lot of times. So having, the ability to hear other people's perspectives is going to help you see that this is a real issue and how it really impacts other people, and to really empathize and connect with others. So Black Experience Japan is definitely a channel that I recommend. There's also a new channel that is coming up from this guy called Emmanuel Acho. And his new series is called Conversations with a Black Man. And it's a relatively new channel at this time, but it has some very profound messages for the few videos that are up. And I really recommend that you go and check that out. And any other channels that you feel are really good resources as well, okay, to help you to open up your awareness around this. If you don't have any people of color immediately who you can speak to about this, okay? And again, remember, you're not just needing to speak to Black, Indigenous people of color. You can also speak to non-Black, Indigenous people of color and to connect with them, because there's a lot of white people right now who are having difficulties with shame and guilt around the fact that racism has been around them all this time, and maybe they've been perpetuating it unintentionally. So talk to your fellow BIPOC people and see what you can do about it. Put your heads together, see how you can come together to make a difference, right? Exchange your perspectives, exchange your experiences as well to help you navigate this, and to play a powerful role in this whole movement that we're all participating in some way, okay? So talk to other people, learn perspective, hear experiences, come up with ideas to do something about it. If you have any other channels in regards to this, or videos or things on educating ourselves on this subject, I highly recommend that you post that in the comments below so that other people can see that and be able to benefit from those resources. So a video that I really want to recommend right now before I forget, that was very powerful and eye-opening for me, is the the following video. If I can just pull up the image. Well, I don't know what's going on with my phone. The image doesn't want to pull up. So I'll just have to see if I can get that at a later time. But there's this video by this doctor lady, and she basically talks about, there we go, post-traumatic slave disorder by Dr. Joy DeGruy-Leary. So you can look that up, post-traumatic slave disorder. And that's a very powerful video for you guys to check out, okay? So the channels I want to recommend are this one, Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man by Emmanuel Acho. And the other video is Post-Traumatic Slave Disorder. Hopefully you can see this. And that's on YouTube as well by Dr. Joy. So she shows extensive research for why people are severely traumatized from slavery even in today, and why they have the challenges that they do today as Black people especially. So this is legit scientific stuff, okay, that I feel personally, at least my human filters are like, shouldn't be bypassed. Spirit loves you regardless, but Stephanie here is like, I don't think this should be bypassed, okay? Number 4 is protests. If you feel called to protest and to go and participate in these kinds of events, by all means, go and do so. Only if you feel called to. You don't have to protest in order to show your support, okay? So don't feel guilty if you don't feel called to protest, but this is an option. Number 5, donate to causes that help promote racial equality, causes that help raise awareness around the injustice around these kinds of things. And make sure that you do your research on the foundations that you're choosing to donate to. Make sure that they are legitimate, that your money is effectively going to good causes for local communities especially. I feel like this is really an opportunity for us to do a lot of grassroots types movements, working with our local communities and changing it a little at a time through our immediate inner circles, so our immediate communities. So I would definitely recommend trying to see how you can donate to your local communities to start bringing about this equality and positive change that you wish to see. And if you're donating to bigger causes or foundations, make sure you do your research to make sure that that money is going to places that are actually going to receive it and benefit from it, and that are actually promoting more of what you want in the world. So be very responsible in that sense with where you're donating. But I definitely encourage you to donate or support local communities first and foremost to change this part about in your surrounding areas, okay? This is how we make the change and we become more active players in that change. And how we become more united is by oftentimes working with our local communities more directly. Number 6 is raise awareness of your own biases. We all have biases, okay? Like the majority of the people on earth, unless maybe they're babies or their children, majority of the people on earth have racist biases. We all do, even people of color, okay? And that's because we have been subliminally programmed in this way to recognize those things, to feel certain ways that we feel, and to really, just work and operate in the world in this way. So you need to do your part, okay, by raising awareness of your own biases or your biases, however they're pronounced, okay? You're not actively, being in the forefront, leading the way or whatever by doing this, but you're making the change by recognizing what needs to shift inside of yourself. And that makes such a big difference, because again, how we change the world on the outside is a lot of times by doing the inner work first. So you have to be willing to do that inner work. And that's why when people sometimes give the argument of, oh, I'm just gonna send love and light, I'm not gonna get involved, I don't see color, blah, 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 blah. A lot of times these are unconscious reasons that people give to not do that deeper shadow work, to not recognize their own racist biases that they have. And if you don't take the time to actually raise your awareness around these things, then you're not going to be able to shift them, and you're not going to be able to truly change, okay? And you're not going to really do that deep level of healing that you need around that. So I have biases as well, and I've been becoming aware of them through this whole experience, and doing my best to become better about that as well. So that's really what it's all about, okay? Number 7, self-healing. So super important. If you recognize that you hold a lot of pain and things around yourself, around the subject of race, around being mistreated as a person of color, or maybe as a non, person of color, and maybe you've been treated wrongly by certain races, because there are no true races. We're all one human race, but maybe you as a non-person of color were mistreated, and maybe that's by people of color, and maybe that's why maybe you don't like them, right? Whatever it is, make sure that you're doing your healing at this time and processing your own karmic stuff that's coming up, your own traumas, your own pain in regards to this, to process that and allow yourself to heal and integrate things and come back to love, okay? Number 8 is speak up, defend, or protect others when you see injustice. So if you're especially a non-person of color, you're a white person, and you see, people of color, Black people, or Indigenous people being mistreated in some kind of way, don't just stay quiet. Don't just be silent. Don't just observe and think that that's not your problem. Because again, we're all interconnected. And when we don't speak up, we don't use our voice, we don't defend, we don't protect those around us that are being mistreated, we're only harming ourselves a lot of times, because we're doing that to ourselves, because we're all connected, right? And a lot of spiritual people sometimes don't want to speak up. They don't want to defend. They don't want to protect because they feel like that's aggressive. Again, all that spiritual judgment of what is right and wrong, what is good and bad, light and dark, right? That's that spiritual ego we need to learn to transcend. And there's nothing wrong with it if you have it. Okay, we all go through that journey, I think, on some level, myself included. And I've been becoming very aware of my own bypassing and my own ego stuff more and more over the years, especially this year. And it's a process, okay? So don't beat yourself up over it. But, when you see people of color being mistreated, or non-people of color saying negative things about people of color, speak up, defend, protect, say something. Don't just stay quiet. Don't just stand there idly. Do something about it, okay? That is how you make a shift. Be willing to be brave enough to stand up for what you know is right in your heart. You know what is in alignment with your inner guidance. That's really what it's about, okay? So that is how you can support racial equality and the dismantling of racism, okay? And also, what I want to say with speaking up and defending and protecting is it doesn't have to be from this aggressive standpoint, okay? If that's how it comes out for you, no judgment. The universe still loves you anyway. Maybe that's what you need to express in that moment. Maybe that's what those people need to receive and how they need to receive that message in that moment. Again, comparing that to the extreme veganism, messages have to come across in different ways sometimes, and it's all good. It's all good. So if you need to be angry or upset or whatever it is when you're defending, protecting someone, speaking up for someone, then it's okay. Let that be okay. It doesn't make you any less spiritual. It doesn't make you any less loving if you speak up with that intensity. Maybe those people need to receive it on the other end in that way, right? But if that is not in alignment with you for some reason, then you can still just speak up, defend, and protect from a place of love, from a place of sternness, from a place of authority. You can still speak up from this space, okay? It's a matter of just being connected to who you truly are and being in your power, and connecting with love to speak in that powerful kind of way, right? And just let people know, I do not accept, your comments, or I think that your comments are very racist, and just flat out tell people, right, the truth. But you don't have to get all worked up about it. But there's nothing wrong with getting worked up about it either, okay? That's what I want you to understand. So this is how you can be, how you can take a more active role, right? Number 9 is be mindful of how you spend your money. Okay. As we move forward in the age of Aquarius, as we come back to who we truly are, it's really important to be more conscious beings, to be more conscious of how we are spending our money, how we are living our lives, how we are creating our realities, how we're engaging with the world. And so part of this social activism, part of bringing about racial equality, or bringing forward more social justice, is becoming more conscious of where we spend our money. Okay. And to make sure that the money that we're spending is going towards companies that are treating minorities or people of color fairly, whether they're outsourcing that work or not, making sure that we are investigating these things, educating ourselves around this, and make sure that they're treating these people fairly, that they have diversity in their companies. So whatever your money is going towards, that's what it's supporting. And that's what I really learned when I was vegan, especially, is, and I'm not trying to impose my beliefs on anyone, but I personally could not have peace of mind inside of myself, knowing that my money was contributing to the slaughter of animals, right? Because it's very easy to spend money and just be like, oh yeah, it's just $5 on this steak or whatever, right? But ultimately, what that does is just continue to let companies know, that there's a demand for this kind of product, if that's what you want to call it. There's a demand for this, and they need to keep producing that and produce more of it, right? So what we give our money to, or who we give our money to in terms of these companies, is letting these companies know that's what we want more of, that's what we're supporting, we're okay with this, and to give us more of that. So when we give our money to shoe stores, clothing stores, cleaning products, places, companies, all these different things, and the people that work for them, the factory workers or whoever, are being mistreated, or their companies don't have diversity or whatever, we're letting them know this is okay. We're letting them know that we accept this racial inequality. We're letting them know this mistreatment is okay. So if you want to change that, it starts with your money, it starts with your dollar. It starts by you as a consumer, and we all make the difference. We all make the difference. So companies don't want to lose money. They want to keep making profits. But the only way to get them to change how they're doing business and how they're running their businesses and stuff is by showing them that if they don't make changes, they're not going to get our money, plain and simple. So we have to educate ourselves a little bit better. And this is not about being perfect, okay? You don't have to be perfect and completely change things overnight. Just start doing your best to start making more conscious choices. And if there are companies that you are a loyal customer to, but then you do your research and you see that there isn't much diversity in their company, that they're mistreating factory workers or people, overseas that work for them by not paying them fair wages or whatever it is, or mistreating them over there, having horrible working conditions for them over there, then let them know. Email these people, email them, let them know. Don't just not spend money on their products and services, but actually email them. Do something about that. There is a person who follows me, which I have to share their posts soon, but they, I guess, have been seeing my posts and me speaking out, and they reached out to their local government center. I don't know what it's called, but they reached out to them about bringing down some statues, or no, changing the names of a street in their city, in their area, right? And they wanted to change the name because the name that the street had was of some white person who slaughtered a bunch of Native Americans, and they didn't feel like their name should represent that street because of the atrocities that they committed. And they took the time to write this letter, to these people, letting them know, hey, I think you should really reconsider a name change here, and why. And they explained it to these people, right? So doing things like that makes such a difference in the world. So if you notice this in the companies that you consume from, please don't just not spend your money there, but write to them, let them know, I'm choosing to no longer be a client of yours because of these reasons. And when I see that you are making changes, I will be able to come back. I will happily come back. And this is how we let them know. This is how we all make the difference. Because a lot of times as people, especially spiritual people, we want this world to be a better place. We want more harmony and equality and all the good things. But you need to understand that on some level, we all need to take physical action here to bring that about, okay? Because we're still in this physical world. So we need to all do our part on some level to make that happen, okay? And the last thing that I have here that I channeled is sign petitions and request changes. So if you feel like something needs to be changed, something needs to be, done differently or whatever it is, you want to hold certain places or people or companies or whatever accountable, then sign petitions. Sign petitions, raise awareness around your cause, get people behind it, use your voice. We all matter. We all make the difference. This is how we're going to all bring about this change and bring about more racial equality to the world, more justice, more harmony, more integration, more unity consciousness. Okay? So that is the message that I was asked to bring forward today. I really hope that this has helped you tremendously. If it has, please let me know in the comments of this video, letting me know what you got out of this video, how this supported you, any questions you might have on the subject. I will be coming on to do more videos in regards to these different things and what I've been learning from my conversations with people over the last few weeks to give my perspective, my experience, my insights to those of you who could benefit from it. Because again, it's about having conversations and dialogue. And that's what I emphasize a lot in one of my Instagram posts. So I will do my best to drop the links to my Instagram posts that I've been talking about in this video in the comment section of this video so that you can go and read those. But the only way for us to make change is by having conversations, is by interacting with one another. It's by trying to hear each other out. Seeing why maybe we were blind to certain things before and what we can do differently, and to connect with one another, empathize more deeply, come together. It's all about having conversations. So I want to have this conversation with all of you and to do my best to support all of you. I'm by no means an expert on this, okay? I still have a lot of learning to do, a lot of reading or listening to do, a lot of things to do. And this is going to be a lifelong process probably for me to undo my biases and to heal the pain that I have as well, around on so many different levels. But this is the purpose of these videos, is to just support you guys in some kind of way. So I really hope that this has been of value to you. If it has, please give this video a thumbs up, a like wherever you're watching from. Be sure to subscribe to my channel so you never miss out on any of my video teachings, especially if these are the kinds of videos that interest you. So hit that bell notification button and change your settings to see first so you never miss out on a notification from my channel, because subscribing doesn't mean you're always going to get the notifications. So you have to hit that bell button and change your settings to see first or see all to see those notifications. And as I said, I will drop in the comment section the link to my email list if you want to sign up for that, and my Instagram posts. And yeah, if you have questions, comments, insights, I would really love to hear from you in the comment section here on YouTube so that we can keep this conversation going. Feel free to share out this video with other people you feel might benefit from this message today. And yeah, I just send you all so much love. I really am just wishing all of you the best as we all go through this experience collectively. And yeah, that's really basically all I have to say today. So be sure to check out those playlists on my channel with the spiritual activism and the chakra healing stuff that I talked about earlier to learn more about those things. So thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate you so much. I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.